Hello everyone, welcome to Learn ECM channel. Today we are going to see OpenText Content Server architecture. So OpenText is a company which provide various products for enterprise content management, and Content Server is one of their product which we use for implementing ECM solution. So today we will see what are the different architecture we can use to install Content Server in our organization. So before we start, a standard disclaimer. So this video is based on my understanding and it's not an official video from OpenText. Please check official documentation before implementation. With that, let's start with our today's video, Content Server architecture. So before we discuss the different architecture, we need to understand what are the different components for a content server system. So for a content server, we have content server service itself. Then we need the web server where we will host this content server. So it can be an IIS or Tomcat. Then we need a database server. It can be Oracle, SQL, or various database systems which content server supports. So the information can be found out from the release notes. Then we need EFS, that is the external file storage to store the content, and then indexes. So these are the various components that makes a content server system. Now let's consider the first architecture, that is the monolithic architecture. So here what we do is we install all these components on a single virtual machine. So we have admin server, web server, and database server all on a single VM or a physical machine. So here mainly we use this kind of architecture for development environment or for some testing purposes. Let's say we want to try out a new functionality, then we can quickly create one server. We install all the components there, and then we use to test a new concept. So this is not used for a production system. So this is the basic architecture. Here we have EFSS and index either on the same virtual machine, or we can even have a separate server or separate disk to store documents and indexes. We can even use the database server to store the files if we do not want to use an EFS system. So this is very simple. All components goes onto a single virtual machine. Then comes the dual server architecture. So now we start separating the components. So first is the database server. So we will install the database on a separate machine, and then admin server and as well as the web server will be hosted on a other VM. So it's a two system based architecture. So that's why we call it dual server, and both system will be connected with each other. Again, we can have the EFS and indexes on the server hosting the admin server, or we can even have them on a separate server. So here the load is distributed between the two VMs. Now the database server load will be on a separate system, and content server related load will be on a separate VM. So this is little more robust compared to the single server or the monolithic server architecture. Then comes the tri-server architecture. So now what we will do here is we already have a database server on a separate machine. Then now we will separate out the content server and the admin server on two different machines. So one will host the web server along with the content server, and the second server will be used for backend processes that we call it as an admin server. So now there will be three VMs. One will host the content server along with the web server. Then we will have admin server, and then third will be used for database server. All these components will be connected to each other. So here we are showing this with a connector. So this whole box will represent a content server installation. So this is the tri-server architecture. So this will be more robust, or it will be little more scalable compared to the other architecture that we have seen just now. So here the load is distributed among three different servers, and the three different servers will have their own CPU and memory. So this type of architecture we can use for our development environment, wherein we can have one front end and one backend server. And in this type of architecture, so when we have the content server on a separate VM, so users will connect with the front end server, and the admin server will process the backend processes. So the user load will be handled by our content server hosting on a web server. And then we have the cluster architecture. So this cluster architecture is used to scale our content server. So we divide this into two components. One is the front end, which will handle the user's load, and then there will be the backend servers, which will process admin related activities like notification, search, etc. Here again we will have the database server and EFS and indexes. So that will be same, but the main concept is separating out the front end and the backend server, and then scaling them as per our requirement. So this cluster architecture is used to scale content server to meet an organizational demand or to meet an organization load. So like in big organization, a single server front end will not suffice because there will be like thousands and thousands of users who will be using the content server, and there will be a lot of processing required at the backend server as well. So to do that, we have this cluster architecture. So now we will see like how to scale this front ends and backend servers. So with that, let's start with the first, that is the vertical scaling. So what happens in a vertical scaling is we can have multiple instances of content server running on the same virtual machine. So these instances will run on a different ports, and there will be a load balancer which will distribute the load between these instances based on the availability. So whichever instance is less used, the request will be directed to that particular instance. So this gives us scalability, because each content server instance will have a certain number of threads that it can use to process the user's request. So when we increase the number of instances, it also increases the overall thread count. So let's say one instance is running 8 threads, then the 3 instance can run 24 threads. So this way we can scale the content server front end vertically. So here also like there will be a backend server. So we will come to the backend server scaling a little later. Then again we have the database and the EFS and indexes connected to this overall installation. So here the main concept is the vertical scaling, having multiple instances on a single VM box. So next is the horizontal scaling. So instead of installing multiple instances on a single virtual machine, we will have multiple content server installation on different VMs. So there will be multiple VMs. It can be like 2, 3, 4 depending on our need, and all those systems will host the content server. So all these front-end servers will be connected by a load balancer, which will distribute the load among them. So now once we have different front-end virtual machines, so each virtual machine will have its own resources, CPU and the memory resources. And this also provides high availability, because let's say if one of the front-end machine goes down, the user will still be able to access the application, because there are other two machines or other front-end servers available to accept the request. So this will provide both increase in capacity as well as it will also provide high availability. So this is the normal scaling that we use in our enterprise application, that is horizontal scaling the front-end servers to handle the load. Then we have horizontal and vertical scaling together. So what we can do, we can have multiple instances of content server on single machine, and then we can have multiple such machines. So let's say we have 3 instances installed on one front-end server or one front-end VM, and then we have 3 more instances installed on the second VM, and both of which are connected to a load balancer. So here we have both horizontal as well as vertical scaling. And then on the backend side also we can start creating multiple admin servers. So we have here admin server 1 and admin server 2. So we can split out the functionality. So we will see like what are different functionality we can run on different admin servers. So first we need to understand this horizontal and vertical scaling concept. So here from the front end perspective, we are doing both. And then again we are connecting to the database server and EFS and indexes. Now let's see the backend scaling. So we have seen like how to scale the front end. So the backend scaling, we can have the admin server installed on 3 different VMs, or we can even have more depending on our requirement. And then we can split out the functionality. So let's say we will have the default server which is running the basic admin server functionality. Then we can have a search and index server. So this will be a dedicated search and index server which will index the document as well as handle the search queries. Then we can have the third admin server as the notification and the agent server. So this will handle all the notification and agent related activities. So this way we can distribute the load among different virtual machines, and all of them will be connected to a single database. Then we will have EFS and indexes, and we have different front-end servers which are all connected to a load balancer. So this is the architecture that normally we uses for different enterprises. So this provides us high load capacity. So here we can have multiple users connecting to the system simultaneously, and depending on a particular organization, we need to decide like what should be the proper number of front end and the back end server. So we need to do the scaling and the sizing activity. So that's a separate activity that we need to do before we can finalize a particular content server installation. Now let's also see like how we can have OTDS server here. So we can have this content server installed with multiple front end and the back end servers, and then it will talk to an OTDS server which will connect to an Active Directory for authentication purposes. So normally we use OTDS only for authentication with content server. So here we are seeing that how it will connect to the content server. So if we discuss like high availability, what we can do is we can have high availability at the database level as well. We can have active or active passive database configuration. Also we can have multiple OTDS server as well in master slave configuration or primary or secondary configuration, so that even if one server is down, the user can still process the request using the second server. So this is how we define a content server architecture, and depending on our requirement we can do the configuration and scale our system to meet the organization's load. So that's all we wanted to see in our today's video. If you find anything useful, please like the video, and if you have not subscribed till now, please subscribe to our channel. Check our website learnecm.com for more such videos. And with that, thanks everyone and have a nice day.